Imagine finding out that HMRC has £140,000 of your money just sat there waiting for you to claim it. And the person that's managing your books, i.e. your accountant, hasn't got a clue it's even there. How would that make you feel when you find out? Kind of elated, big payday, furious that it's been sat there for God knows how long? Possibly a bit of both. So let me give you a little bit of context here. We're on this call and it's our first meeting with an e-commerce seller. Now they're doing around about 4 million in terms of revenue. Their primary sales channel is Amazon, and they've been with their traditional accountant for some years. And the reality is there wasn't really any complaints until the cracks started to appear in more recent years because of their e-commerce side of the business had grown quite substantially. So when we were having a look over the account, everything on the surface looked, as we'd expect. There was basic software. The numbers weren't clear, but these are really quite common. It's something we're very much used to. And often when people do reach out to us, it's because they want to have a better understanding of the numbers that make up their business, right? So in the initial stages where we're performing this review, and it didn't take long for us to spot a massive red flag. Now, this is something that we're finding more and more common, and it's being missed by many traditional accountants. The problem relates to the Amazon side, the transactions that carried VAT. Ultimately, there wasn't any VAT reclaim at all over a 4-year period. So when we run the numbers, it turns out £140,000 of their money was then just sat there with HMRC. And that's not like finding a fiver in your pocket before you stick the washing in. So naturally, they were stunned from the outset and they were happy. But of course, on the other side, they were quite angry because this wasn't money they had to fight for. This was their money that they were always legally entitled to. And from a simple phone call where they were, calling us in hope to understand their business numbers better, we found quite quickly that they were due £140,000 prior to even onboarding with us. So it's, needless to say that they are now a client. And this one fix has increased their margin by around about 3%. And in terms of that £140,000, the last time I kind of spoke to them, they said that, a large proportion was going to go to reinvestment into the business naturally, but some of that was going to be used as just personal cash injection. And imagine that, a nice chunk of your mortgage, whatever it is, especially if you weren't expecting it. So here is the thing. Like I've said, this isn't rare and it's happening nearly every month on this kind of scale. It happens a lot more frequently, but maybe not always to that extent. Now, the reality is that just many traditional accountants don't fully understand e-commerce. They do miss the nuances and the complexities. And whether that be seller fees, advertising, there's platform-specific costs. And ultimately, if your business is VAT registered and you're selling online and you are, let's say, in a more of a traditional setup, there is a chance your accountant might be missing some things. And of course, it's not always going to be that huge kind of payoff. And it's not as if your accountant's doing a bad job overall or they're lazy. They just don't understand the rules of the game, right? So the question that I'm posing really is how much is sat there with HMRC with your name on it? And so this is why now that we've come up with this idea of giving away 5 free VAT audits every month. Now, these are in-depth reviews done by an ICAEW chartered accountant who lives and breathes e-commerce. We go through your VAT with a fine-tooth comb. We check every claim, every rate, every platform fee, and then we go over with you and explain exactly what we found, if anything. Now, there is no charge. There's absolutely no obligation once we've done this review to kind of stick around with us. It's just this initial clear numbers and honest advice, all right? There is one downside, 5, and that's because we don't have all the time in the world. So it's going to very much be a first come, first serve basis. The thing that we do need is a reasonable system in place for us to be able to perform a review. If you kind of guessed or patched together your VAT return, our feedback might be less, you can reclaim this and more start doing it properly. The sooner you find out, the less frustration you'll probably feel, because finding out after a competitor has knocked you off top spot, or the realization that, that money could have been reinvested into the business and it might have changed the course of things, that's a bit more than a kick in the teeth, right? So click on the link below, get your free audit, find out if you've ultimately been gated from your own money. Remember to like and subscribe. I hope this video has been insightful and useful. And remember, clear numbers, better decisions, more profit. Thanks for watching. Take care.